Come join me to set goals for 2024. We talk a lot about goals on this channel. Making goals. Focus on the goals.
Set goals.
Having goals.
The goal of being an accountant.
Goals give you a target to aim for. They set intent. It helps lay the path of where you want to go. Now, I feel like I've really been off my shit recently. Things are slipping, but I feel like I need to get some structure back. So with that in mind, I need my goals for 2024 in place to get locked in. But setting goals can be tough. You have to ask yourself, what are my goals? It requires thought and an idea of actually what you want to achieve. And I'm pretty new to the idea of setting goals myself. I set them for the first time in October 2022 for the end of 2022. I did this after reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. He explains in Green Lights why it's so important to set goals.
You see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
I read the book, I was inspired, I had to set some goals. As I said, I'm new to goals. I set my goals for 2023 in April. So this right here is the first time I'm actually setting goals in advance to the year. But before I start planning 2024, let's review 2023's goals.
2023 has been a strange year for me. I'd just come out of a long-term relationship. We just bought a house together. And so the trajectory of my life really started to change. And I think my goals reflect that. I wanted to use that event as an opportunity for growth, use it to my advantage, and try and level up. So in April 2023, I set 7 goals and I had 1 goal rollover from 2022. My rollover goal from 2022 was completing the muscle up. I'd set this as the goal from the previous year, but I'd only given myself like 3 months to complete it. And I failed. However, this year, I can say I can do a muscle up now. Absolute massive flex. You'll see from the videos that they are not always the cleanest, but a muscle up's a muscle up. So come at me. Can you do a muscle up? My second goal on the list was to complete a week away solo. I wanted to get away from everything, just like clear my head and work out what the next move was. Goal was achieved. I went to Nuki for the week. This was the perfect week for me. I'd wake up, look at the surf cam, work out whether I'm going surfing in the morning or surfing in the afternoon, and then drop in the gym either side. I'd sprinkle in some walks, a few ciders, a few beers, but that was about it. A week to myself to just do me, find out what I want to do in life. My next goal was to do 10 YouTube videos. Now this was a massive leap for me. I'd only just released my first video at the time, and I'm the type of person that gets really into something all in 100% for about a month and then just stops completely. I did this with jiu-jitsu last year. I've done it with rock climbing. I've done it a few times. So 10 videos was a lot. With this video here, this takes me to 12 for the year, so I'm well happy with that. But next year, I'm probably gonna have to step up that goal. The next goal was to practice mindfulness. I'd initially wrote down meditation, trying to do sort of 4 times a week or an hour a week. But I changed this to mindfulness because I thought meditation, you need like at least 10 minutes to get in the zone, block everything out and just focus on the meditation. Whereas the mindfulness is all about being present. So with the mindfulness, I just had to try and practice being present in more situations, not letting life just go by this wayside. And whilst I haven't achieved 4 times a week or at least an hour a week consistently, I've definitely improved from where I was last year. My next goal was gym consistency. You'll notice that a lot of these goals aren't exactly the best goals. They're not that specific. There's not really anything to measure it by. So we're going to work on that for 2024. But the goal was to stay consistent in the gym. That was absolutely achieved. I think I smashed that goal out the park this year. Visually, I've now reached levels that I've never reached before. Levels that I didn't think were possible. I overpassed 2021 Josh, who at the time thought was the absolute peak physical condition. I've taken that, gone past it, and I'm well happy with the results. Even if in the last few weeks it may have slipped away a bit. It's crazy what a breakup can do for your body. My next goal on the list was to learn more about myself. Again, another very fluffy goal, but I did learn a couple of things this year. I've learned that I really don't like it if I don't know something. This is meant in more relation to work, but I found myself getting very frustrated and worked up if I'm going into a situation where I really don't know what's going on. And then distilling that down, basically, I found that I'm more sensitive in uncomfortable situations. On the plus side, I do think I'm developing a better mentality when facing difficult situations. I think I've got a really positive mindset on things and try to use that in any opportunity I can. So that's something else I've learned. My next goal was to say yes to more things. Now we're talking family, friends, work, life, just any opportunity I can, do it. Had the best year in 2023, talking weddings, stag do's, trips to Rotterdam, Thailand for 2 weeks, sprinkled in some great nights with friends. I attended loads of family events in the year too. Work-wise, I accepted a promotion. Arguably, who says no to a promotion? But we accepted it. I'm now leading the team. So I think this goal has been accomplished too. And the last goal that I had was to be more grateful. Now, I don't know if I'm a really ungrateful person. I just felt like at the time I should try and practice being grateful more. At the time, post breakup, all my friends and family were there for me, offering me so much support. And I could feel their support, and I was so grateful for it. I just felt like I needed to practice gratitude more. And actually, on the back of that, not long after I started practicing gratitude is when I got the offer for the promotion anyway. So whether that's linked, I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's videos out there that tell you that practicing gratitude and things will come your way. So I don't know. Now with this goal, it's not something that I practice every day. I don't have a list of things that I'm grateful for that I go for every day, but I am a lot better at it, and I try and do it when I do remember. So I've like half achieved this one. That was 2023. Now come with me as we set goals for 2024. But before we go any further, I want you to comment below how you got on with your goals in 2023.
Today we're setting goals, baby. So whenever I'm setting goals, sometimes the hardest part is actually coming up with the ideas in the first place. For me, the best thing to do is try and think about what I want to achieve in the short term, medium term, and long term. Like, what is success for me? If you can define what that is, then you can sort of work backwards and work out what you can do shorter term to work towards that. For me, I really want to be successful in my career. And I think with that, you need to be a really good leader. Recently in my new role, I've become a leader. So one of my goals for the year is going to be to try and improve my leadership skills. Another thing to do is try and think about what life events you might have in the coming year, and then what goals you can set to sort of align with that event. Do you have a wedding coming up? Is it a big birthday? Can you think of any goals that will link to those that you know you need to achieve in the year? The other thing you can do is try and think about different things that you want to work on, whether that's personally, in work, any hobbies that you want to improve, or just your health in general. Now, when setting goals, they say for a good goal, a goal must be smart. And smart means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So the goal can't be vague and left open. You need to be specific to what the goal is. It needs to be measurable, so you need to be able to tell if you can actually achieve it or have achieved it. It needs to be achievable, because if you set something that's completely out of the realms of possibility, you're never going to get that. It needs to be realistic, which I think sounds pretty similar to achievable anyway. And it needs to be timely. There needs to be some time pressure on that too. Now, in the past, my goals have not always been smart goals, and some of my goals for 2024 are not going to be smart either. I still like to chuck in the fluffier goals as well, the goals that can be interpreted in different ways. I like to call them agile goals. And for me, the reason behind that is you never know what's going to happen within the year. There could be certain things that change. You might have a massive switch in perception. So I like to keep a couple of those goals open to interpretation. And certain goals, it's quite hard to actually think about a specific measure to attribute to it. So yeah, I don't think it applies to everything. But with these goals, what I do think you need to do, whilst they need to be achievable, I do think you need to stretch yourself. It's all good setting goals that you know you're going to achieve, but if it's too easy, you're really not stretching yourself. You're not pushing yourself. For me, there's a goal this year that I'm really not sure if I'm going to make, but I'm setting it anyway, because if you shoot for the stars, you may hit the moon. I've got some more quotes to drop in. You need to have a target to aim for. Without a destination, there is no journey. Goals are dreams with deadlines. So as I said earlier, goals can be split into different categories. Health and fitness, personal goals, anything to do with your career, anything to do with finances, or even a hobby. My first goal for 2024, again, not a smart goal, is look out for future Josh Moore. Now, in the past, my decision-making process has usually been, future Josh can deal with that. But I've realized over time, that's not that sustainable nor good for me. And whilst I've definitely come a long way from that, there are still instances where I am not looking out for my future self. So in 2024, I really want to start looking out for future Josh Moore. So to make this goal maybe a bit more specific or a bit more measurable, the task will be to do at least one thing a day that sets up myself for the future. Be more proactive doing things. That can be as small as doing the washing up that evening so I don't have to do it in the morning. I fucking hate washing up. My next goal for 2024 is going to be running a marathon. I've wanted to do this for years, probably from at least 2010, if not before. I did a half marathon in 2019, and I really thought the marathon was going to follow the next year. It did not. That was 248 weeks ago. We're now in 2023, 2024. No marathon has been done. I'm 28 years old. The sun's setting on my 20s. I still really want to do a marathon, but every year I keep thinking, maybe next year. So 2024 is going to be the year. So I think marathon is a smart goal. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. It's all got to be done next year. 26.2 miles. My next goal is probably my scariest, and this is to release 26 YouTube videos. Now, this is my really big stretch goal. It works out at one video every 2 weeks, which realistically doesn't sound too bad. However, I know it's going to be tough. But the person of me that will come out the other side having done that will be much better at a lot more things. By default, I'm going to have to get the process down for coming up with ideas. I'm going to have a better plan of action for how to record them. Just the whole process overall is going to have to be a lot more refined if I'm going to make this goal. So as scary as it is, it's something that I think will help really improve these videos and myself in the future. 26 videos, again, smart goal, specific, it's measurable, it should be achievable, realistic, but timely. It's got to be done next year. My next is to do with the gym, and that's to maintain and increase my strength levels. Now, I know that I'm going to be doing the marathon next year, and that's going to have to take away from some of my gym time. But I don't want it to completely diminish from my gym. But the goal here is going to be to get a PB in bench press and a PB in squats. At the time of recording this, I think my PB for squat was 160 for 1 back in Feb this year, and my bench press PB is probably about 110. So I want to have hit a PB again in both of those by the end of the year, whilst maintaining for the marathon training. My next goal is another stretch goal, quite literally. So this is about flexibility. And the goal here is to be able to touch my toes. Now, that sounds absolutely ridiculous as a goal for most normal people, because most people can touch their toes. I can't. For some reason, years ago, I remember vividly remembering that I'm just not a stretcher. I didn't like the feeling of doing stretches. I was literally in secondary school PE thinking, I'm just not going to be a stretcher. I'm 28 years old now, someone that tries to look at their longevity, tries to be quite healthy, yet I can't even touch my toes. And I know flexibility is going to be so key for later on in life, probably even now, to be honest. So the goal is to be able to touch my toes, work on my hamstring flexibility and flexibility in general, but ultimately the goal is touching my toes. You can see from this video, I am absolutely atrocious. As I mentioned earlier, next on the list is becoming a better leader. Now, this again is a fluffier one. It's not one that I know how I can really track if it's been achieved. But what I can do is read books, find content about leadership, try and take that in and apply the learnings in my day-to-day. If I don't have the goal there, I don't know if I'd be actively working on it. So the goal's there. Next goal is to read or listen to 12 books in a year, a book a month. And we're not talking cover to cover, but to take in the majority of a book for 12 books. The reason I say that is because I feel like a lot of books, you don't need to get the full way through to get the full learnings from it. A lot of it, there's some key sections within it. Now, you don't know that going into the book which they are. However, my plan will be to listen to the book, get what I can from it and move on. Now, the next goal is all around finances, savings and investments. When I came back from Thailand, one thing was very clear. I want to do more traveling, but I spent a lot of money. So the only way I can do more traveling is if I start saving again. So my goal for 2024 is to put X amount away to saving. Now, I'm not going to say the number, but the number will be jotted down in my goals. Same with investment. I want to save another X amount for this year. I have a set amount that I put in a direct debit every month. The hope is to maintain that for the year to reach a certain goal. S&P today, checked it, up 22%, boy. Massive. Now, setting goals is amazing and it's great to have them jotted down. But in order to actually achieve these goals, you need to have them in your face. They need to be shoved down your throat. So when you wake up every day, you know, shit, I need to work on these things. I said I'm going to do it. Let's do it. So what you need to do is make sure you write your goals down. As Shi Heng Lee says, you need to bring it from the heaven onto earth. To be able to manifest that goal, bring it into the real material world. Matthew McConaughey also said you need to sign your goals. So when you've written out your goals for the year, make sure you sign them underneath. At that point, it's like a contract with yourself. You've promised that you're going to have to do them. The other important thing is to make sure you're tracking your goals so you can see if you're progressing with it or not. I highly recommend getting a calendar and putting on any of the key milestones for your goals for the year. This is such a simple tool, but I find it so effective at being able to track progress. For me, I'm going to use the calendar to make sure that I'm keeping track of all my goals. I'm crossing out days where I've achieved things that I need to. And just that act in itself of crossing off things that you've said you're going to do, a little promise that you made yourself and you actually achieved, those little wins over time are actually not so little. That helps us build confidence in ourselves that we can achieve these things that we set for ourselves. So please write them down, put them on a board, tick them off. Now, whilst you're tracking your goals, you need to make sure that you're being accountable if you do find yourself slipping. It's okay to be slightly behind where you thought you were going to be, but don't let that demotivate you and make you stop completely. Take that as the spark, the fuel to make you keep going and push to get the goal finished. So in order for all these goals to be successful, you really need to be tracking it and monitoring the progress. So that was my goals for 2024. I'm intrigued to know what yours are, so comment down below and let me know. And that's it for this video. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, good luck for 2024. We'll catch you in the new year. See you on the next video.